What if I told you the most powerful move you could ever make is doing absolutely nothing? Yeah, no texts, no calls, no chasing, just silence. Because today we're diving into the most savage way to ignore him, not to be petty, but to remind him exactly who he lost. And trust me, if you do this right, he will come crawling back, begging for your attention. Hi, and welcome. If you're tired of the games, the ghosting, or being taken for granted, this video is your comeback era. I'm going to show you how silence speaks louder than any angry text ever could, and how to use it as a weapon of value, not revenge. You'll learn the exact tactics to make him feel your absence in ways he never expected. Not through manipulation, but through mastering self-control, emotional discipline, and powerfully feminine energy. This isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming unavailable to anyone who doesn't recognize your worth. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the right kind of silence is louder than begging, and how walking away the right way can flip the script in your favor. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and don't skip a second, because this strategy, it's not for the weak. Let's get into the most savage way to ignore him and make him the one chasing you. So why does ignoring a man work so powerfully? Why is it that the moment you go silent, no texts, no reactions, no drama, he suddenly starts showing interest again? Let's break this down with real psychology, not fluff. The human brain is wired to seek validation and certainty. When someone pulls away or becomes emotionally unavailable, it triggers a threat to the ego. That uncertainty makes them think, wait, did I lose her? Did she move on? And that tiny seed of doubt, it grows fast, especially if you've been consistent before. Now here's where it gets really interesting. When you stop responding, your silence creates a dopamine gap. You've probably heard of dopamine, the brain chemical that makes us feel rewarded. When someone gives us attention consistently, our brain gets used to that dopamine hit. But when that attention disappears, the brain starts craving it more, just like an addiction. So when you ignore him, not with bitterness, but with complete emotional control, you're creating psychological tension. You're removing the stimulus, and that's exactly what makes it more valuable. He doesn't just miss you, he misses how he felt when you responded to him. And here's the kicker, ignoring only works when it's authentic. You can't fake it. Men can sense when you're just trying to get a reaction versus when you've truly detached and moved on. That's why this tactic isn't about playing games. It's about regaining your center and becoming the version of yourself that doesn't chase, beg, or settle. When you stop feeding his ego, you shift the power dynamic. You stop being the one who's waiting, hoping, overthinking, and suddenly he's the one questioning, doubting, checking your page, wondering why you're not chasing anymore. It's basic psychology. Scarcity creates value. And when you become emotionally unavailable, your perceived value skyrockets. That's when the tables turn. And that's why ignoring, when done with confidence and clarity, works like a charm. Let's talk about the savage silence. Because this isn't just ignoring for the sake of ego. This is a strategic silence that speaks louder than any words ever could. Most people think silence is passive, that doing nothing means giving up. But in reality, silence, when used with purpose, is one of the boldest, most powerful statements you can make. The savage silence means you're done explaining, done defending, done begging to be seen. You're no longer performing for someone who didn't see your worth when it was freely given. And here's where the shift happens. Your silence forces him to sit with himself. No distraction, no comfort, no reaction to soothe his guilt or feed his ego. Just silence, echoing louder every day he doesn't hear from you. Every story you don't watch, every text you don't send, every call you don't answer. He starts to notice the void you used to fill. But silence isn't about punishing him, it's about honoring you. You're not ignoring to manipulate. You're disengaging because you've chosen peace over chaos. And in doing so, you're re-establishing control. Because the moment you go quiet, he loses the ability to predict your next move. And that uncertainty, that's what drives him crazy. But listen carefully, savage silence only works if it's backed by internal strength. If you go silent but still obsess over his every move, check his profile, wait by your phone, he can sense it. He can feel the emotional tension still pulling at him, and it weakens your position. True silence is grounded, calm, clean, unbothered. You don't owe him a reaction. You don't owe him closure. Your distance is the message. So when you choose the savage silence, you're not just ignoring him, you're redefining your value. You're showing that your energy is no longer accessible. And trust me, that realization hits harder than any words you could ever say. And the best part, you'll start to notice something shift in him, yes, but even more in you. Now let's get real about the biggest mistakes women make when they try to ignore a man. Because here's the truth, if you're doing it wrong, you're not creating mystery. You're just handing him more power. Mistake number 1, fake silence. You say you're ignoring him, but you're still checking his stories, stalking his socials, hoping he watches yours, and secretly wishing he'll message you. That's not silence. That's emotional noise. And whether you realize it or not, that energy leaks. Men can sense when you're still emotionally available, even if you're not texting him. Mistake 2, silence as a tactic, not a mindset. Some women go quiet, expecting an immediate reaction, and when he doesn't come running back, they panic and break it. They text, call, or post something for attention. That's reactionary, not powerful. The savage silence only works when it's not about getting him back. It's about getting yourself back. Mistake 3, staying silent but bitter. You're not speaking, but your whole vibe is angry, resentful, or performative. You post petty captions, subtweets, or try to flex for attention. That's not power. That's insecurity in disguise. Real silence is clean. It doesn't need to prove anything. Mistake 4, using silence to manipulate. If your only goal is to make him suffer or chase you, it's going to backfire. Not because he's immune, but because manipulation never creates respect. And respect is what keeps a man chasing long after the silence begins. And finally, breaking silence too soon. You ignore him for a few days. He sends a weak hey, and suddenly you're back in his inbox, acting like nothing happened. That tells him your silence was just a bluff. And next time it won't work, because he knows you'll cave. Silence isn't a temporary tool. It's a permanent shift in how you hold your value. Don't use it unless you're ready to fully own it. So if you're going to ignore him, do it from a place of calm, not fear. From strength, not strategy. That's when silence becomes unforgettable. Let's talk about mindset. Because none of this works if your mind isn't in the right place. Ignoring someone who once meant a lot to you, who you may still care about, takes more than silence. It takes emotional discipline. And that comes from completely rewiring how you think about him, and more importantly, how you think about yourself. The biggest trap most women fall into is thinking, if I ignore him, he'll come back. But that's still rooted in wanting his reaction. That mindset keeps you emotionally tied to him, waiting, watching, hoping. It keeps your power in his hands. The truth, you have to ignore him not to get him back, but because you finally know you deserve better. That's where your power comes from. You're not being cold, you're being clear. Clear about your standards. Clear about your peace. Clear about your worth. To stay cool, you have to stop personalizing his behavior. When a man pulls away, acts inconsistent, or stops showing up, it's not a reflection of your value, it's a reflection of his capacity. Once you understand that, you stop internalizing the rejection and start realizing you dodged a bullet. Now here's something most people won't tell you. Your nervous system needs to catch up with your decision. You can choose to go silent, but your body might still crave that emotional chaos. The dopamine hits, the anxiety cycles, the highs and lows. That's not love. That's addiction to unpredictability. So how do you rewire? You ground yourself. You create space. You move your energy inward, journaling, meditation, working out, pouring into your goals, surrounding yourself with people who remind you who the hell you are when you forget. You start speaking to yourself like someone you respect, not someone waiting to be chosen. You remind yourself every single day. If he wanted to, he would. If he valued me, he'd show up. If he lost me, that's on him. And here's the real flex, being at peace, whether he comes back or not. Because when you're cool, calm and grounded, when your silence is coming from a place of power, not pain, that's when everything shifts. Suddenly his validation doesn't matter the same way. You're not chasing closure because you've already given it to yourself. You're not performing for attention. You're just being fully and unapologetically You rewiring your mindset isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about training your emotional muscles so that even if you care, you don't react. That's next level strength. That's high value energy. That's what makes you magnetic. Because let's be honest, staying cool isn't about being emotionless. It's about being in control. And when you can hold your silence and hold your ground, he feels it. If you really want to make him regret losing you, the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all. No dramatic goodbye. No long paragraph. No late night just so you know. Texts. You don't owe him an explanation. You don't even owe him your reaction. What triggers regret more than anything else is your absence paired with your glow up. Regret doesn't come from what you say. It comes from what he starts to notice when you're no longer there. He starts to notice that you don't text anymore, that you don't watch his stories, that you don't show up the way you used to. Sweet, supportive, always available. He expects your energy because he's used to having it. But now, you're gone. Emotionally, mentally, physically, unavailable. And here's what really breaks him. You didn't argue about it. You just left. Silence confuses the male ego, because most men expect drama. They expect begging, tears, pleading. They expect to be the one who decides when the chapter ends. But when you walk away calmly and don't look back, that creates a discomfort he can't ignore. It forces him to sit with his own actions, to ask himself, did I mess up? Did I push her away? Did I lose someone who actually cared? He starts creating the narrative, and your silence gives him space to do it. That's the secret. But here's the key. The regret is only triggered if you're growing during the silence. You can't just disappear and sit there hoping he notices. You need to shift your energy back to you. Work on yourself. Improve your mindset. Level up your life. Post with intention. Not to show off, but to show evolution. That's when it stings. When he sees that you didn't fall apart without him. You actually got better. You look happier, healthier, sexier, more focused. You're glowing. That's when regret hits hardest. When he realizes you're doing just fine without him, and you're not even trying to prove it. And remember, don't block him. Let him see it. Let him watch in silence. Make it clear that you're not hiding. You've just moved on. The woman who begged, she's gone. The woman who over-explained, she doesn't live here anymore. You've evolved. You've detached. You've leveled up. And when a man sees that shift, when he realizes you didn't just go silent, you outgrew the version of you that needed him. That's when the regret becomes real. You didn't say a word, but somehow you said everything. If you want him to chase you, really chase you, it's not about playing games or making him jealous. It's about stepping into a level of confidence so unshakable that your energy alone pulls him in. Here's the truth. Men are drawn to women who move like they know they're the prize. Not because they say it, but because everything about them communicates it. So what does that look like? First, stop trying to prove your value. High-value women never over-explain themselves. They don't post for attention. They don't chase closure. They let people lose them. Because when you know what you bring to the table, you're not afraid to eat alone. Confidence looks like being unavailable to chaos. When he starts breadcrumbing or testing the waters with weak, I miss you texts, you don't jump. You don't overreact. You stay calm, collected, unfazed, like someone who doesn't accept half effort anymore. Confidence looks like living your life in motion. You're not paused, waiting for a text. You're out building something, working on your goals, expanding your world, creating momentum. And the truth is, momentum is magnetic. People chase what they can't control. And when your energy becomes focused on your own evolution, he starts chasing the feeling of being around you again. Next, eye contact, posture, voice, they all matter. When you walk into a room like you belong there, when you speak slowly and with clarity, when you don't rush to fill silence, you're communicating something powerful. I am enough without needing your validation. Confidence is also in the way you handle communication. You're not cold, you're clear. If he asks to see you, you don't drop everything. You let him fit into your schedule, not the other way around. That small shift sends a big message. I've got a life that doesn't revolve around you. And finally, One of the most underrated confidence moves, being comfortable walking away, not threatening to, not pretending to, actually being okay with letting go if you're not being met with respect, consistency, and effort. That energy, that's rare. And it's exactly what men chase when they realize they can't just slide back in like nothing happened. So if you want to make him chase, don't just pull back physically. Elevate energetically. Show up differently. Glow differently. Carry yourself like someone who knows she's already won. Because the moment you start embodying that version of you, he'll notice, he'll wonder, and yes, he'll chase. Let's talk about one of your most underestimated weapons, your social media. Now before you roll your eyes, no, this isn't about posting thirst traps or flexing your new outfit just to get his attention. This is about subtle, intentional energy control through your online presence. Because whether he admits it or not, he's watching. And what he sees can either confirm he still has you or hit him with the painful truth that he doesn't. Here's how to play it like a high-value woman. First, don't disappear. Going completely offline can sometimes make him think you're sulking, heartbroken, or waiting on him. No, stay visible, but elevated. You want your content to feel light, calm, confident, and unbothered. Think gym selfies with zero captions, snaps of your coffee and laptop, or smiling with friends. Nothing forced, nothing extra. Second, no obvious bait. Don't post sad quotes, petty memes, or look how amazing I'm doing without you, selfies. That energy is loud and insecure. The key is to be subtle. You're not trying to get a reaction. You're showing him that you're moving forward, with or without his eyes on you. Third, use absence strategically. Watch how you engage. Don't like his posts. Don't watch his stories. Don't comment, even if it's friendly. The quiet will drive him crazy. You used to be in his notifications, now you're not. And that shift, it plants seeds of doubt and curiosity. Fourth, let your glow up speak for itself. Whether it's a new hairstyle, travel, passion projects, or personal wins, show, don't tell. Post in ways that communicate. I'm evolving, not waiting. And here's the trick. Don't post often, just enough to stay visible, and leave the rest to his imagination. Fifth, don't block him unless absolutely necessary. Let him watch, let him wonder. And if he's bold enough to message, you don't have to rush to reply, or even reply at all. Being seen doesn't mean being accessible. And finally, no subtweets, no cryptic captions. That passive-aggressive energy only confirms he still has power over your emotions. True confidence is silent, unapologetic, mysterious. When he sees that you're not pressed, not angry, not sad, not chasing, just glowing, that's what triggers real curiosity. And often regret, because here's the truth. You don't have to say a word to remind him what he lost. Let your presence, and your silence online, say everything. The woman who begged is gone. The one he's watching now, she's thriving. So he's starting to crawl back. Maybe it's a random text, a late night hey, or even a sudden desire to reconnect. What now? What do you do when the tables turn? When he's the one chasing? First things first, don't rush. This is your moment to show that your silence wasn't just a game. It was a boundary. It was you reclaiming your power. And just because he's reaching out, doesn't mean you owe him immediate access or an explanation. Remember, the energy you bring in this moment will set the tone for everything that follows. If you respond too quickly or act desperate, you lose the advantage you worked so hard to build. Stay calm. Take your time. Let him wait for your reply, just like you waited for his. Next, keep your communication clear and measured. You don't have to engage in long conversations or dive into emotional territory. Respond with intention, short, confident, and unbothered. Think of it as a test. If he's truly serious, he'll match your energy and respect your boundaries. If not, he'll fade away again, and that's a win for you. Also, be honest with yourself. What do you want? Are you open to giving him a second chance, or are you simply holding space to protect your own peace? Make that decision before responding. This way, you stay grounded, not reactive. If you decide to engage, focus on setting the terms. Don't fall into old patterns where you're always the one compromising or chasing. Let him know what you expect, whether that's respect, honesty, consistency, or space. And don't be afraid to walk away if those expectations aren't met. Your standards aren't negotiable. At the same time, watch for red flags. Is he apologizing but not changing? Is he making promises but not following through? Trust your intuition. Remember, actions speak louder than words. Your silence made him reflect. Now his actions should prove his sincerity. Here's another important point. Don't be afraid to say no. Sometimes, crawling back is just a way to ease their own guilt or loneliness, not a genuine desire for a real connection. Saying no doesn't make you cold, it makes you wise. Above all, keep your power by putting yourself first. This isn't about punishing him or winning a game. It's about protecting your heart, your time, and your energy. If he's serious, he'll show up. If he's not, you'll know, and you'll be ready to move on without looking back. So when he crawls back, respond like the woman who knows her worth, calm, confident, and completely in control. Because now, it's not about chasing anymore, it's about choosing. We've covered a lot today, but before we wrap up, here are your final tips. The key moves that will keep you unshakable and in total control. First, always remember that your silence is your strength. It's not about punishment or playing games. It's about protecting your energy and honoring your worth. When you master silence, you master yourself. Second, never forget your boundaries. They're not walls to keep people out. They're gates to protect your peace. Stay firm, stay clear, and don't let anyone pressure you into breaking your own rules. Third, keep investing in your growth. Emotionally, mentally, physically. Your power comes from your evolution. The more you level up, the less anyone else's actions can shake you. Make your life so rich and full that you're never waiting on anyone's approval. Now for your next power move. Start setting the tone for your future relationships right now. Whether it's with him or someone new, practice this. Show up confidently. Stay true to your standards and keep your emotional independence at the core. Remember, confidence isn't just about how you look or what you say. It's about how you carry yourself when no one's watching. It's how you treat yourself, how you guard your time, and how you refuse to settle for less than you deserve. So here's what I want you to do next. Take a moment after this video. Write down one boundary you want to strengthen, one way you're going to focus on your growth, and one confident action you'll take this week that honors your worth. Then commit to it. Because this journey isn't just about getting someone back. It's about becoming the kind of woman who never loses herself in anyone else. You are the prize. You always have been. Keep that energy fierce. Keep that silence savage, and watch how your world changes. If you found value in this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a power move. Drop a comment below with your next power move. I want to hear how you're owning your worth. Stay strong, stay unapologetic, and remember, your power is yours to command.